George Clooney, you see, is now blaming one Barack Obama. How did I get in this spot, he's wondering. Oh, it's Barack's fault. Here's the headline in Radar over the weekend. This one caught my eye. George Clooney fuming he was seduced. Interesting word choice. Seduced by Barack Obama into putting the boot into Joe Biden. Because you say he's now being blamed for the Trump win. In other words, Clooney, maybe if you just kept your mouth shut and didn't write that little op-ed, which I guarantee you Clooney did not write. Like, he just didn't. Somebody on Obama's team wrote that, and they placed it. And then they're like, okay, well, you've lost Clooney. So when you lose Clooney, you've kind of lost the whole deal. I mean, you lost Nate Silver first. We saw the internal polling. The thing is like, they didn't do any better. Not one bit better. In fact, they probably did worse with Kamala Harris. So now Clooney is in the doghouse. Here we go. Here's the article. Activist actor George Clooney is outraged after being manipulated. Oh, see, this is his team feeding something to Radar. And the word choice is interesting, right? He was manipulated, not seduced. You save that for the title, I guess. That's the clickbait. Being manipulated by former President Barack Obama into lobbying for Kamala Harris to take faltering Joe Biden's place in the 2024 election and then getting thrown under the bus by his one-time buddy when she lost. Quote, George is furious with Obama for disappearing after the election disaster. I'll tell you, Obama's a smart guy. If nothing else, he's a heck of a politician. Disappearing after the election disaster and leaving him holding the bag for pushing the plan with his Hollywood pals, according to a showbiz insider interviewed by Radar. Clooney, 63 years old, wrote an opinion piece in July. You, of course, recall that, calling for President Biden to drop his re-election campaign, citing his declining mental faculties, which we all saw every single day. Of course, when I said it right here on the show, somehow that was just nothing but fake news, right? They didn't believe it when Trish Regan was saying it, or any of the other podcasters out there. Ben Shapiro was all over this at Daily Wire. Rogan was all over it too. The reality is they didn't want to hear it because they wanted to manufacture the news. And whenever you showed the full clip of disaster Biden, somehow that was a problem. So Radar goes on to report a political mole told RadarOnline.com it was Obama who urged Clooney to call for Biden, his own vice president, to end his sputtering campaign, fearing the fallout if he did it himself. Yeah, well, we all knew it was Obama, did we not? Obama and Clooney have been tight for years, and George became Barack's surrogate in leading the charge for Joe to step away, explains the source. Barack knew he would look like a traitor if he publicly called for Joe to cut loose, and now he's trying to walk away from it all. Why? So his wife can run for president? In 4 years, George feels duped and vows he's not going into he's not going to be anyone's political water boy anymore. Well, good, Georgie. We are so happy that you woke up to reality. You stupid actor trying to get into the political game and getting used just like they use them over there on The View. You just got used by one Barack Obama. They're using your celebrity status. I can just say, I hope you got paid a whole lot of money for that, because it's going to hurt your career forever. Who wants to go see a George Clooney movie right now? I don't think anybody. Doesn't he have one out with Brad Pitt and nobody's watching it? And Brad Pitt's blaming George for the bad ratings. And George is blaming Barack Obama. It's actually pretty funny. So Democrats blame game. Liberal sore losers gang up on George Clooney. Poor George, poor Georgie, and claim his sweary Joe Biden op-ed caused crushing Trump victory. Listen, I hate to break it to you guys, but you were never going to win, ever. It didn't matter who you put up. You were never going to win against Donald Trump. One, he's just way more sophisticated from a media standpoint. I mean, who else deals with his supporters getting called garbage and then goes out and rides a garbage truck around town? And who else sort of has the brilliance and the ability to kind of adapt on the spot in those rallies? He was talking to tens of thousands of people multiple times a day in those rallies. I mean, he gets it, right? From a sort of sophistication in terms of understanding everyday folks. He seemingly has a whole lot more in common with everyday folks than, say, one Joe Biden or one Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, who doesn't have any inkling of the wealth that Donald Trump has. And yet she seems like the annoying elitist that's trying to kiss up to everybody all the time. Like, people just don't go for that. So you were never going to win, but it wasn't just because you had a bad candidate. Let me rephrase this. Your policies sucked. Okay? That's the reality. Your policies, is everyone on the left listening? Not many people on the left watch this show, but that's okay. They ought to, because they'd learn something. Your policies sucked. You drove mass inflation. Americans have never experienced anything like this. I mean, not since the 1970s. It's Carter 2.0. And then on top of it, we were supposed to be ashamed of who we are, who we were. Suddenly you couldn't be patriotic anymore. You couldn't fly the flag. You couldn't be rah, rah, America. Why? Because you guys said so. And you were trying to rewrite history in a way that would just make everyone obsolete. Well, it turns out people don't really like being told that they are bad just because they're American. So George Clooney, you and Amal, your lovely wife, who cares more about Gaza than she does the USA or Israel, certainly Israel. I mean, Israel's the enemy when you look at Amal Clooney. People don't like it. And they don't like your movies. So you can blame Barack, but you know what? People still blame you. And now I guess you're blaming your wife. Like, that's how scummy this guy is, in my estimation. The fact that his people are putting out this story, oh, he's trying to fix his marriage, whatever, because the marriage is on the rocks. The marriage is on the rocks. Why? Because Trump won? Because maybe you listened to your wife a little too much, who's basically a spokesperson for Gaza? I mean, hello. Here's the other headline. So George Clooney vows to do anything it takes to protect his family amid marriage on the rocks rumors. Apparently the marriage is on the rocks, and they're like roommates now, according to this headline in Radar. Maybe he's frustrated with his wife because she too had very bad political instincts, and this is some kind of blame game. I mean, they're a pretty pathetic couple, if that's what it's come down to, let me just say, okay? But I consider her rather pathetic because of some of her opinions she spouted vis-a-vis the USA, vis-a-vis Israel, etc. Okay, not a fan over here. I'm happy to tell you that. I don't think you had any doubt about that to begin with. But he married her, and now things are not working out for him or for her so well. So there you have it.